I've used all the WordPress SEO plugins over the years, and All-in-One SEO is the only SEO plugin you need. And I'm going to prove it to you in this video. All-in-One SEO gives you an optimization checklist for every post. It helps you optimize for focused keywords and secondary keywords. It can perform SEO audits on your site and give you actionable feedback that you can use to improve your SEO. It helps you control how your site appears in search engines and on social media. It lets you pull in Google Search Console data to create useful reports for your SEO improvements. It has an SEO revisions feature to help you track the performance of SEO changes you make. Its Content Decay feature helps you quickly find content that is slipping in search rankings, so you can refresh that content and get your traffic back. We're going to cover all those features and more in this in-depth tutorial. I recommend you watch the entire tutorial to the very end so you can see what All-in-One SEO can do, and after that you can use the timestamps to jump to the parts you want to focus on for your website right now. Hi, I'm Bjorn from WPLearningLab. Now let's get started. So this is where we get the All-in-One SEO premium version right from their website. On the pricing page, you'll see a lot of different options. Pick the one that's right for you. If you want to just follow along with the free version, a lot of what I'm going to show you in this video does work on the free version. It's just that the pro version has a whole lot more stuff. So I want to show you the power of All-in-One SEO in its full extent, in its entirety. So we're going to use the pro version. The free version is in the repository. You just go to plugins and add new and search for it. When you have the paid version, you can download it from your account right here. Just click on download. It'll download the file to your hard drive. Then you head back into your WordPress dashboard and you go to plugins and add new plugin, upload plugin. This message here is for wishlist member. Something just popped up. I got to look into that. So that's not for or relevant to this current video. I have the All-in-One SEO Pro right here downloaded. Just going to drag and drop that right into there. Click on install now. This is my live WPLearningLab.com website. I have backed up the site already before I installed this, which is something you should always do. Just in case something goes wrong, you can revert to the backup. I'll link to the tutorial in the card up above and the description down below to help you back up and restore your site if you need to do that. Click on Activate Plugin, and now it automatically takes us into the Setup Wizard. Just click on Let's Get Started to start the Setup Wizard. If for some reason this doesn't come up, I'll show you how to get to it. There's another way to get here. So if you go back to the dashboard and you go to All-in-One SEO and then click on Dashboard, it takes you to this page. And right here is a Launch Setup Wizard button. So then you can get back to the wizard if you ever need to. But first, since we're using the Pro version, we need to add our license key. Let's click on License Key now. Go back to here, copy the license key and paste it in here. And then click on Connect. And we're connected. All-in-One SEO Pro plan is active. Sweet. So now we're going to go back to the dashboard and we're going to walk through the Setup Wizard. Click on Launch Setup Wizard and you'll start the wizard. Once we're on the main Setup Wizard page, just click on Let's Get Started and it starts walking you through the wizard that's going to set up All-in-One SEO for you with your help, of course, by filling in the wizard, but it takes so much work off your plate and it guides you through all the proper steps you have to take. So the very first step, which category best describes your website? Select a category to help us narrow down the SEO options that work best for you and your website. How do they know what works best for you and your website? Because All-in-One SEO is installed on millions of websites, and not every website needs the same stuff. And they've broken it down into certain categories, so if you tell them what your site is, it's going to help them better understand what SEO options you need. I'm going to choose blog because that's mostly what mine is. It has an online store component too, but it's mostly a blog. You can also enter other if none of these types fit yours. For the homepage title, you can enter your title here. I have WordPress tutorials WP Learning Lab. You can also add tags. That's going to pull information in dynamically from your website. The separator wouldn't be dynamic information. That's just the separator. But the site title and tagline, you can set those inside the general settings in the WordPress dashboard, but there's way more options too. So if you add the site title, you can click on this down arrow. You can also click on View Tags, and it's going to show you all the different tags you have available to you. And there's a lot. And that just helps you automate things a little more when stuff can be done dynamically. We're not going to use that for the homepage title or the meta description, but there are other places where that becomes really useful, and we'll touch on that when we get there. Click on Save and Continue when you're ready. Additional site information, you can choose to be a person or an organization. For this site, I'm going to choose person because it's mostly focused on me because I'm kind of the face of the brand at the moment. I'm going to pick which person. This is pulled from the WordPress users. So this is the person that the site's focused on. You can add a social share image as well. And I'm just going to use the logo for the website. or for the brand, I should say. I'll use this one right here. White on white is not great. It's hard to know which option would work best in this case, but I've got a dark writing one. I'll just use that. And once the image is in, you can add your social profiles. Use the same username for multiple social networks. That's pretty handy. It autofills all of them when you type in the username here. And often when you have a brand, that's what you try to do. Use the same username throughout all those networks, and that actually is the username for all these networks. That's pretty awesome. And you can add Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Yelp, SoundCloud, Wikipedia, MySpace, and WordPress. And all these ones are kept blank because I guess they're not commonly associated with most profiles or most businesses online. And it's true for me. I might have a WordPress URL from WordPress.com, but I never use it. And these ones I don't use for this brand. So I'm just going to keep the ones that it pre-filled. Click on Save and Continue. Which SEO features do you want to enable? We've already selected our recommended features based on your site category, which we picked in step 1. But you can also use the following features to fine-tune your site. So the features we can enable: optimize search appearance, sitemaps, broken link checker, analytics, conversion tools, image SEO, author SEO, local SEO, video sitemap, news sitemap, smart redirects and 404 detection, link assistant, index now, REST API, advanced rich snippets, and schema markup. I'm going to choose a few of these. Video sitemap, because I make a lot of videos, and this installs the add-on for video sitemaps. I'm going to keep all the ones selected that were selected. I'm also going to add advanced rich snippets. Local SEO would be for a local business, which mine isn't, but that would be something you definitely want to add if you're working for a local business or if this is being installed on a local site. And this did not add any or have any WooCommerce options except for maybe the advanced rich snippets and schema markups, but I'm not sure there. Click on Save and Continue. Step 4, search appearance. The way your site displays in search results is very important. Take some time to look over these settings and tweak as needed. So this is currently, if someone searches for WPLearningLab, this would be how the home page would appear. I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I maybe work on is getting my description, or the most important part of my description, down to 160 characters, which means it wouldn't be cut off. So I click on Edit Title in the description. I can maybe tweak this a little bit because we can go about that far, and all this is not being shown in the search results. So I'm just going to rearrange some of this stuff. Maybe take this part here. I teach entrepreneurs, business people, and enthusiastic individuals how to reach their online goals with WordPress. Delete the rest. There's an example of a slimmed down version of my 30-second elevator pitch. Now it appears completely in the search results, but I lost a lot of information. I had much more written there. I lost a lot of words. And the thing is, these words that appear here and here, this is the meta description. So if they were to click through hoping to read the rest of what you wrote, they're not going to find it unless they view your source code. So there's really no point in having a ton of words here going beyond 160 characters because people can't find that information on your website anyway. So slim it down, make it punchy, slim it down to the bare essentials. Here we choose if the current site is live. Yes, it is. So we're going to keep it on live site if yours is being built. Click under construction. That probably ticks the box inside the settings that says don't allow search engines to index the site. And then when you go back to live, it then unticks that box. We have auto-select include all post types. For my site, that's no bueno because there's so many. This is specifically to create the sitemap, which is what we submit to Google for indexing and hopefully for ranking inside the search engines. We don't need to include quizzes or certificates or submitted essays. What we do want is posts for sure, because that's our blog posts we want to rank for. Pages, sure, we put that in there because it has privacy policy and terms and disclaimer. We want Google to know that those exist on our site. I'm going to keep attachments selected because that's all the images on your site, on your blog posts, for example, which if you optimize them can also rank in Google search. And products I'll keep because I have some products on the site. And these 4 were auto-selected because those are the most prominent, most important ones. So it's pretty smart in picking out what you should create for the sitemap from. And here we have enable sitemap. That's checked in green. You can't unselect that. Do you have multiple authors on your site? Currently, no, I don't. Redirect attachment pages we have turned on. This means in your media library, when you upload an image, instead of WordPress creating a page for each separate image, you redirect to the image itself. For example, when I uploaded this image right here, it created this URL, and this was a page with just an image on it. But now with this redirect turned on, if you click on this, it goes to a different URL, which is this one here, and that's just the image itself. Why does that matter? It matters because having just an image on a page, how it is by default in WordPress, creates what's called a low content page. Google does not like low content pages because they don't provide any value to people. And if you're uploading, or if you have uploaded on your site 1,000 images, that's potentially 1,000 low content pages that Google's trying to index, or at least crawling on your site. And they're like, all this site does is create low content pages. That's trash. I don't want it. Whereas if you just redirect to the image itself, Google says, oh, that's an image. That's fine. I like images, but they're not on a page. Even though it's confusing because when you click on it, this is still, it looks like a page, right? Because it looks like it's on a page, but it's not. It's just an image. It says just JPEG or .jpeg there because it's just an image. By default, there's a permalink like this one right here that is an actual page. So I hope that made sense. In 99% of cases, you're going to want to have this as yes, turned on. Click on Save and Continue. For step 5, it wants us to connect to Google Search Console. This is going to allow All-in-One SEO to pull data into your WordPress dashboard so you can have it all in one place. Super convenient. Here's a little more information about what it'll do. I'm going to click on Connect to Google Search Console to connect it. All you have to do is sign into your account, pick your web property, and you're done. So let's do that. Pick the appropriate Google account that contains that web property. You have to select all these, otherwise it won't work. Click on Continue, and looks like it found it automatically. Here it says I agree to receive important communications from All-in-One SEO and WP Beginner. WP Beginner bought All-in-One SEO. The same company essentially, and it picked the appropriate site, which is WPLearningLab.com. If it was unable to pick the correct site, it probably would have given me an option to select it. Click on that button, I forgot what it says, completion or something like that, and we're all done. Congratulations, your site is now SEO ready. Here's what to do next. Join the All-in-One SEO communities, read the step-by-step guide to improve your SEO rankings, might be a good read. Watch our guided tour of All-in-One SEO, might be a good watch. There's 3 buttons at the bottom: Set up Webmaster Tools, See Advanced Settings, and Finish Setup and go to the dashboard. I want to see if I can control click or command click to open that on a separate page because I want to do all those things. Looks like this is under All-in-One SEO and General Settings. And then this one is All-in-One SEO, General Settings again on the Advanced tab. Now that I know where those are, I can skip them for now. We'll come back to them later when we cover the general settings. Click on Finish Setup and go to the dashboard. Now it's going to start pulling in some data about our website. Here we have 265 posts. 265 don't have a key phrase. That's not entirely true. They do have a key phrase, just All-in-One SEO is not picking it up. Before you can rank any content in search engines, you have to create it. But what are you going to create content on? Don't just do it randomly from what you feel or what you think people will like. Use a keyword research tool to find keywords that your site can potentially rank for. Some examples that you probably heard of are SEMrush, Ahrefs, and they're super expensive. I found lowfruits.io. It's quite a lot more affordable, and its focus is on easy to rank for keywords. That's why it's called Low Fruits, kind of like low-hanging fruit. So it helps you find keywords and topics quickly and easily that you should be able to rank for without too much link building or no link building at all. You can create a free Low Fruits account. That's what I'm currently in right here. Go to Keyword Finder. Type in something related to your niche. If you have a cooking website, don't just type in cookies. Type in something more specific like chocolate chip cookies or chocolate chip cookie recipes, something like that. You can also use search operators. So if we were to use the example they have here, which is best bike for asterisk, let's do best recipe for asterisk. The asterisk is a wildcard. And this is going to go out and use Google Autocomplete to find loads and loads of keywords and topics that start with best for and end with something. If we were to try this in Google, we can do something pretty similar. Let's type in best recipe for. We see chicken thighs, pork tenderloin, chicken breast. Google's trying to guess what we're trying to find, what we're looking for. And if I type the letter A, it's going to have everything that starts with A for the next letter. B, C, D. This is the ABC method of keyword research. With that asterisk in there, inside the search tool, it's going to look up every letter and get results for those. Then we can analyze them inside this tool to find which ones have weaknesses where we can rank our site. So I'm choosing this as my keyword phrase. I'm going to choose United States and English. There's a bunch of other options for each of those. Pick the one that's correct for you, then click on search.
Here it even says we're extracting long tail keyword ideas from Google Autocomplete. We found 377. You can access all keyword ideas. This is still free in the free account. So let's access those. No keyword analyzed yet. Select keywords using the checkboxes and click SERP extraction. 1 keyword analyzed is 1 credit. But what we can also do before that is click on fetch volume. This is also free. This is going to fetch the search volumes of these keywords, or estimated. This is from probably Google Ads Keyword Planner is where this is pulled in from. And so we can now filter our results. Let's filter by volume. We want a minimum of, say, 100. Leave the max empty. See what it pulls up. Now we see keywords with some pretty good search volume. We have 229 keywords in the list out of the 377 that we had originally. And we can click the magnifying glass beside any one of these to analyze the SERPs. In a free account, you get 10 credits, but with the paid accounts that are very reasonably priced, you get a lot more credits. So if we wanted to, for example, do this one, best recipe for shrimp and grits. Click on the magnifying glass beside it. It's now going to analyze the SERPs for this keyword to see if there are any weaknesses where we could potentially rank. So this got a difficulty score of 3, which is the highest level in low fruits. You want to have 1, that'd be ideal. 2 is okay, 3 is very difficult. There are no weak spots found. If we look at the SERPs, we see all these SERPs right here, and we see the domain authority for all these is quite high. And this is probably a recipe that we're not going to rank for. Other sites could. We could with a lot of link building, but this is probably not one to go for. Let's try one with a little less search volume. Let's do this one. Best recipe for gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. Let's analyze that one. This takes a minute or two. No weak spots found. Best recipe for 15 bean soup. Let's do that one. Also a 3. I might not find any great results with the search volume so high. So we can also do a search volume. Let's do between 10 and 99. So we get the other side. Lower search volume usually means bigger sites are not targeting these keywords. Let's see if we can find something in here. Best recipe for make-ahead mashed potatoes. 3. No weak spots. Best recipe for zucchini and yellow squash. Let's try that. And once again, a 3. So I'm going to do something different. Let's do the example they have here. Best bike for, search that. 383 ideas found. Click on access to see them. Let's click on fetch volume. You don't want to waste your credits analyzing keywords that have 0 search volume, even though sometimes keywords with 0 search volume still have search volume. I've found that over the years, but it's best to go for some that have some kind of search volume. Let's do again 10 to 99. So we get the lower traffic ones just to see if we can find one before we run out of credits. It has some weak spots in the rankings that we could try to exploit. Best bike for mileage and style. Let's try that one. 3. No weak spots found. Best bike for 70.3 triathlon. 3. No weak spots found. How about best bike for learning wheelies? Let's try that. We got one. It's a 2. It has a weak spot. So if we click on the view SERP, we'll see the weak spot here. There it is. The domain authority is low and they're ranking on the first page. The best bike 2025 for wheelies. It's a weird way to structure the title. Plus, as you learn in this video, this URL with the slug is terrible for SEO. So I'm pretty sure you could at least compete with this site and possibly bump them off the first page if you wrote a solid piece on best bike for learning wheelies. The more weak spots there are, the easier this number will be. 2 is medium difficulty. 1 is the one you're looking for. And to get to a 1, it's going to have more weak spots. But that's how we can use low fruits to find keywords that we could possibly rank for. And it's going to take a bunch of credits for you to find some good ones, but it's worth the time and effort. Plus, low fruits is much more affordable than Ahrefs or SEMrush. So we want to try to find as many keywords with a 1 difficulty score. We had difficulty doing that in this video, but they are out there and it takes a bit of work to find them. We want as many of those as you can find, and then we can input them into All-in-One SEO on our website, and it's going to help us optimize our pages for these specific keywords and topics. And that's what this video is all about, how to optimize your pages and your website to rank in Google for your chosen keywords and topics.
When it comes to optimizing pages, there are 2 very important components that All-in-One SEO provides. There's the focus keyword work that you can do to optimize the page, and there's also a page analysis. Both of those together, they call TruSEO, TRU-SEO. And that is what we're going to cover next. And first, we're going to start with optimizing the focus key phrase inside of the content. If I go to my posts, and let's find one that I created to get search traffic. Believe it or not, I don't create all my posts for search traffic. Because of the videos on YouTube, I sometimes create posts with information for the video and as a link to it from the video. It's not necessarily to get Google search traffic. And I also have posts that I create for the newsletter that I link to. So let's find one that was trying to get search traffic. Here's one, Contact Form 7 PayPal integration. So this is one where I actually have written content. It's pretty old. Still did it in the classic editor, but here's the content. And I'm actually trying to create a tutorial with a walkthrough how to do things. So it has more content than many sites, or many pages, on this website. And the focus keyword, let's go to the URL. So this is the focus keyword right here. Contact Form 7 PayPal integration. So let's copy that. Now we need to find the All-in-One SEO tab. It's right here. Click on the pencil beside the focus key phrase. Put it in there. Get rid of these dashes. It can be lowercase words. You just want spaces instead of dashes. Click on Add Key Phrase or Focus Key Phrase. And you can add additional related keywords. Those would come up in your keyword research. Ones that are tightly related to Contact Form 7 PayPal integration. Might be something like Contact Form 7 PayPal options, Contact Form 7 payment forms, something like that. You can add those and optimize your page for those as well as the main keyword, which in this case is Contact Form 7 PayPal integration. And then you get an SEO score. You have a checklist so you can work through. And if you think viewing your SEO information in the sidebar is a little bit cramped, you want more space, you can scroll down to the very bottom of the page and you'll see an AIO All-in-One SEO settings panel. If you're on the General tab and you scroll down, you will see the focus key phrase area. So you can add it in right there. Suggestions right here, additional key phrases right here, page analysis down here, and you can walk through all these steps and optimize your content. So let's pretend that this is the page we're optimizing and I want to get to 100%. We're currently at 74. And this might actually be a starting point for content you put in here, whether you write it yourself or whether you have someone else write it. When you create content, if you know the topic is Contact Form 7 PayPal integration, your content is going to be talking about that. And that's going to be picked up by not only search engines, but also All-in-One SEO. So some of these points that you see on the right side here, or at the very bottom, those are going to be checked off for you immediately because that's what your topic is. And then you're going to have some value that's above 0, probably above 50 for sure. And then you can go through this list and get up to 100. So let's go through these one by one, even the ones that we have green check marks for, to see how you would address that issue if it was an issue for your post. So the first one, focus key phrase in SEO title, repeats the same thing for the description. That just means that your focus key phrase, which in our case is right here, is in the title of the post. If I take this out right now, it unchecks over here in real time. I don't have to save it or anything. If I put it back in, key phrase in SEO title is checked again. And so that's what that first one is. If the focus key phrase in meta description is a red X for you, you scroll down to the very bottom and you have your meta description right here. In this case, it's got a dynamic tag that's pulling in the post content. It's pulling in 9,900 characters, which is not super. So I'm going to change that a little bit. Even though I got the check mark, I'm going to change it. I'm going to copy the first paragraph because I think what I want is going to be in there. Let's scroll back down to the bottom. Let's erase the post content. Paste in the first paragraph. Now let's rework this so we have our keyword phrase, which is right here in the first paragraph. So we have that near the beginning and we're under 160 characters. There we go. I shrunk it down. I've got my key phrase in here. Ideally, that'll be at the beginning of your meta description as well. So if you can work it in that way, that'll be great. And this will also be bolded in the search results. So when someone searches for Contact Form 7 PayPal integration, this phrase is going to be bolded in the title that we see right here. That'll be bold. And then it'll be bold down here as we see in this example as well. It's bolded. And that just makes it stand out even more. And that's why you do that, not only for search engines, but also for people. So that's where you get the search phrase into the meta description. The next area here is focus key phrase length. So it wants us to reduce the focus key phrase. I'm not going to do that in this case because this is an actual key phrase people are searching for. If we were to go to Google and type in contact form 7, start typing PayPal. We see right here, PayPal integration is the first one that comes up. There's a bunch of other searches related to that as well. So this error, I'm going to ignore. So we're not going to hit 100% for this post. And that's only because I know this phrase gets search traffic. So I'm going to keep my keyword phrase length as it is. Next, focus key phrase in URL. If we click on the WordPress sidebar icon to open that for the settings, we go to post. We have the slug for the post right here, also called the URL, and it's just my key phrase. That's it, with dashes in between the words. So that's why we got a check mark for that one. Focus key phrase in introduction, meaning the first paragraph. It appears in your first paragraph. Well done. That's great. So in the first paragraph of your content, you want to try to get your key phrase in. If you are writing about that topic or that key phrase, it shouldn't be that hard to introduce it with that exact match phrase in the introduction. It shouldn't be hard, and it should make sense for your readers too, because then you're basically confirming that they are where they need to be, which is great. Focus key phrase in subheadings. So if we scroll through here, here's a subheading right here. It's an H2. You can see the switch to heading 2 up here. If I click on the paragraph, it goes to paragraph. So our H1 is the title up here. And then H2s throughout the post, at one of them at least, needs to have your focus key phrase. So let's scroll through, see if I put it in there. I must have. This one right here, contact form 7 PayPal extension. That was one we saw pop up just a moment ago in the Google autocomplete. I could add this one as a secondary term for this post. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Click on additional key phrases, type it in there. I'm going to make it all lowercase for consistency. And now we have this guy in here. It's only optimized to 33 out of 100. And the requirements also change. So it wants us to put it in the description. It's too long. Put it in introduction. This isn't going to work for everything. So I don't want to put this in the description or the introduction because I only have so much space for those things. I don't want to spam it full of stuff. Anyway, back to trying to find that as an H2. Let's keep scrolling. It must be in here because we got the check mark for the headings. There it is. Contact form 7 PayPal integration. You'll notice I didn't put it at the very beginning of the post and try to spam it and cram it in there. It doesn't need to be. We still got the check mark and it's near the bottom. We should add the focus key phrase in image alt tag attributes. We have lots of images on here. You can pick any of them or all of them to add the alt tag. I'll put it in the first one. Click on the pencil to edit it. We have the alt text here. I call this one add a new plugin. And after every one of these, I could add a separator and have contact form 7 PayPal integration because that's the topic of the post. Or that might be a little spammy. You can just add it to 1 or 2. Just work it into the alternative description. This is what screen readers would use, or if images aren't loaded on your site, it'll show this description. And that will help your visitors navigate your site. It'll help with accessibility, and it will help Google understand your site better as well. You can also add this as the caption if you want. Click on update. It uncentered my image. See if we can get that back in the center. No, doesn't want to be centered anymore. But it's got the description, or sorry, the caption here, and then it has the alt text in there, and we got the check mark for the alt text. And we also got the check mark for focus key phrase density. Focus key phrase density is 0.5%. Focus key phrase appears 5 times. So we nailed that one without even trying. Down here for the alternate one, it only appears 1% of the time and only once. So we want to have this in there 4 more times if we want to optimize for PayPal extension. And really, when you're trying to get this check mark, you don't want to cram it in wherever it fits. You want to read through it, either add more content so you can add your key phrase, or replace some content where you can add the key phrase. Just don't make it spammy. Make it so it's quality content and people can read it and read it well. So we got 96 out of 100. The only way to get more is to shorten the key phrase length, which I guess we could do just to get 100 for the video. We could do something silly, like have it just be contact form 7 PayPal. So now we're at 100 because we put the shorter key phrase in there. But for this one, the shorter key phrase doesn't make sense because the full key phrase is longer. I'm sorry. Sometimes you're not going to get 100, and that's okay. If you work through this checklist, the focus isn't on getting 100% and getting all the check marks, because that's not going to guarantee that you rank. It's really just a guideline to help you optimize your content. And as you do it more often, you get more experience and you start having some SEO success, you start to realize what is most important and what isn't. For example, the key phrase length. I kind of say that one's not that important because I do my keyword research and I know this is the keyword and that's just what it is. That's how long it is. I'm sorry. So I'm docked 4 points, but the post still has a good chance of ranking because that's the actual key phrase. My point is, don't focus on just getting all the check marks and think your job is done. Focus on creating quality content that gets as many check marks as you can get. Then you're done. If you recall, we started at 72 or 74, and that was still green. Below 70, I believe it goes to orange, and then below some other number it goes to red. So if you're in the red and the orange, you got to improve your post. If you're in the green, you're already doing pretty well. You don't have to go to 100. These are just guidelines. Now we're going to do the second part of All-in-One's True SEO, and we find that at the bottom of the page. Might be in the sidebar. It is. The basic SEO, the title, and the readability in the sidebar here, but I like it at the bottom of the page. It's a little easier to read, a little more spread out. So down here, the page analysis, this is the true SEO. So we work through the checklist up above here, the focus key phrase checklist, but it's also down here again, the same complaint about focus key phrase length that we're going to ignore, but we have some additional stuff as well. We have content length, which is not on the focus keyword checklist, if you recall. And if I click on it to open it, it says content length is good. I was hoping it would say a specific number for a number of words you want to have. I usually shoot for, when I want to rank for SEO, like 900 to 1,000 to 1,500, like super thorough. These two are very important. Internal links is when you're linking to other pages on your website, and external links is when you're linking out of your website to somewhere else. So if we scroll back up in our post here, we have this section right here, more contact form 7 tutorials. These are all internal links. So these all link to other places on the site that I think people who are reading this post or have this problem, they might find these ones helpful as well. And that's very important. Up here, that's a link out to YouTube for the WordPress channel. I think that might be the only link out. When you link out, it shows Google that you're willing to cite your source. I didn't invent contact form 7. So if I were to link out to the contact form 7 page in the WordPress repository, they'd be like, thumbs up. That's great. And to add an internal link, if you want to do that, we could go to, got to find the right words, contact form 7 settings. If you wanted to make this a link, you just highlight it, click on the link icon. You can type for, or start typing, and it'll pull up pages that match the words you're typing in. Because I'm writing, or this post is about contact form 7, I try to stay within the contact form 7 universe of posts. I'm not going to link out to how to brush a dog properly, because that doesn't make any sense. So you want to stay within that universe of posts. And if I had a specific post about contact form 7 settings, I link to that. All I do is find it here, click on it, and then I'd be done. And that's an internal link. All-in-One SEO also gives you some Skookum internal linking help that we're going to check out later on. If you want to do an external link, this is a great spot because I talk about the plugin being developed by Scott Patterson, and I could just highlight his name, click on the link button, and type in the URL to this extension in the WordPress repository. Let's do that right now. This is it right here, Scott Patterson. Just copy this URL, paste it in here, and hit go. Now we save, and we have an external link to, we don't have very many external internal links on this post, so I think what All-in-One is looking for is just one of each. One internal link, one external link. You can have as many as you want, although I'd limit it to maybe 5 each. Depends how long your post is, but I wouldn't go crazy in those. So we have one error, which is the focus key phrase length. I keep coming back to that. I'm not changing it. I'm sorry. For the title, we have 3 options here. Focus key phrase in the title. We did that for the basic SEO. Focus key phrase at the beginning of the title. That was not part of the basic SEO, but I mentioned that when we were doing the meta description, how we'd be best served to move that to the beginning, but I didn't feel like that was appropriate in this case. But for the title, we have it as the very first thing. You always want to try to have your key phrase as the very first thing that appears in the title, in the URL, in the description, right near the beginning of your post. You get the idea. SEO title length. Titles over 60 characters. How do we fix that? Well, we have our post title here. We can customize it. Let's see if I delete the site title and the separator, which aren't really adding to our SEO juice. We're at 52 characters. So we're going to save that. Just have the post title. No other smart tags in there. Something funny to do with smart tags as well. If this was a post that had a date in it, you can just add a smart tag for the current year. This was called Contact Form 7 PayPal integration to accept payments in 2024. Every year, this is just going to update. Next year, this is going to say 2025 automatically. That's a pretty handy thing inside of these smart tags. I'm going to save that. Now, if we scroll down, we should have a check mark for the title length. We do. All good. Readability, 2 errors. We have images and videos in the content. We do. And if you don't have them, they're pretty easy to add. If you're using the block editor, you just go to where you can add the blocks. Click on the plus. Search for an image block. And you just upload from the media library or your computer or insert from a URL. And if you want to add a video, there's a bunch of different ways. You can search for embed. You can use the embed block. You can use custom HTML. You can use video block. You can use the YouTube block. I believe there's also a Vimeo block. There's the Vimeo. So depending where you get your video, you might be using different ways to embed it. I usually use YouTube videos. So I use the YouTube block and you just paste the URL right in there and it puts it on your site. Super simple. And we have our paragraph length checks out. You're using short paragraphs. In other words, don't have huge blocks of text. Have it interspersed with headlines and images and videos and block quotes, just something to break up all the text because a big page full of text is daunting. Sentence length, I got a check mark. Sentence length looks great. Unfortunately, neither of these actually say what length is good and what's bad, but I'd limit the paragraph length to 3 or 4 sentences at the most. Some of the paragraphs I have in this post are 1 sentence, 1 sentence, 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 2 lines. Sometimes there's 1 sentence on 2 lines, but they're pretty short. And for that, I got the check mark. Short and punchy. Sentence length also looks great. It doesn't want you to talk in the passive voice. And you can even click on this and it highlights the sections in the editor that use the passive voice. Let's see if it does that for us. Here, this one. A sandbox account is a non-functional PayPal account used for testing and non-live transactions. Once you're done with the PayPal add-on settings, head over to your CF7 contact forms. Highlighted down here, since the PayPal plugin is installed on the site, every one of your Contact Form 7 forms now has a PayPal tab inside of it. When you read those sentences, for most people, including me, because I wrote it, I guess, that sounds okay. Doesn't sound that bad. But if you Google passive voice versus active voice, there's a specific way to structure your sentences to make them active versus passive. And active is nicer to read. That's why it wants you to have active voice so that people don't get bored and leave the post. So if you're having trouble with this one, Google the difference between active voice and passive voice, use the highlight option to highlight them in the editor, and then reword the sentences to be active voice. Transition words, I got a big X for. Only 27.1% of the sentences contain transition words, which is not enough. Use more of them. If you were to look up transition words, even though it sounds like you probably know what they are, and you probably do, there's lists and lists of transition words and phrases you can use to improve your writing. And if we go back to our post here, if we click on the eyeball and we scroll up, we'll see the sentences it thinks need transition words. And it's not necessarily an SEO specific thing. It's more of a time on page thing. If you write well in the active voice, use transition words, everything flows, it's not chunky, you end up having people stay on the page longer because your content's easier to read. And that is an SEO factor, time on page. So improving your writing is not just for the people who come to read your posts, it's for search engines as well. And that's often not really talked about in SEO circles, how to improve your writing. It's really just keywords, get them in there, put them in the title, URL, and description, and first paragraph, and whatever. But writing is actually really important because it boosts your time on page. Consecutive sentences, we got a check mark. There's enough variety in your sentences. That's great. But if you are having trouble with consecutive sentences as the error, just add pictures, add headlines. Subheading distribution. One section of your text is longer than 300 words and is not separated by any subheadings. Add subheadings to improve readability. I'm going to turn this eyeball off and turn this one on. And this is it right here. 300 words, I guess, down below that. More than 300. There's quite a few words. So people who are skimming the content, they wouldn't like that very much because skimmers usually only read the headlines to find the exact spot where they want to be. So let's see if we can add another heading. It doesn't have to be in H2. It can be in H3 or H4, H5, H6. So here we talk about what happens when people make a payment and where they go and what happens after that. So let's add a heading before then. What happens after a payment is processed? Let's make that an H2. Why not? Just don't make it an H1. Let's see if we got our check mark back. Or not back, but got a check mark. No, we don't. So let's click this again and see what section it is. Now it's this one. It changed. So the PayPal extension one is now happy. This section here. But now this part has too many words. Let's see if we can add another one. Let's see. The 3 other fields in the settings are sort of optional. Let's add it before this. Let's say here, optional settings fields. Make that an H2. And now what do we have? A check mark? Yes, we have a check mark. However, now we're in passive voice. We went to 10.5% by adding these 2 headlines. And the passive voice issue has to be something we just added. I think it's this headline because of the is processed. Whenever you add things that are past tense, I believe that's passive. Let's copy that. I've got a passive voice checker up here. For example, it says here as an example, the coffee was made by her. So that's past tense and that's passive apparently. She drank coffee is active because it's like an action that she's doing. So I'm pretty sure when we pasted this in here, the headline, what happens after a payment is processed and check it, it's coming up as passive. But if we wrote in here, payment processing workflow, that's not exactly what I want the headline to say though. But I bet that's going to be active or not passive for that one. And I'm pretty sure if I change this to what happens after payment is made, that's still passive. It's still passive. Let's try what happens after a payment. That's not passive. So let's just use that, what happens after a payment. And since I'm not an English major, I'm not an expert in passive and active voice, so that's how I fix it quite often. I find the problem phrases, put them into one of those, tweak them a bit, and the more you tweak them, the more you do that, the more you understand what passive and active is, and the more you can do it automatically in your writing. But if you're having trouble with that, that's definitely a great tool to use. And so we're all done with TruSEO. We have 2 errors after working through all that. One is the transition words, and the other error is the focus key phrase length, which we're not going to change. Both of those errors are just going to stay. Again, it's a guideline. You don't need to hit 100% on all these metrics. And even if you do hit 100% on everything, it does not mean you're going to rank. It does not guarantee anything. It just makes sure that you are as well optimized as you possibly can be for a key phrase, but you also want to focus on quality content. So if getting enough keywords, enough instances of your key phrase into your post is harming the quality of the content, as in you're spamming it in there where you don't need to, but you just want to hit this stat and get the check mark, don't do that. Instead, take the error on the page analysis or the SEO analysis and keep your content quality, because that's what matters most. Just try to get as many check marks as you can without compromising quality of your content. The SEO revisions feature allows you to track your changes in terms of SEO that you do to a post. And then if you compare that to traffic changes to the post itself or rankings changes, you can decide whether a revision was good or bad for your SEO, and you can undo it. Or if it's good, you can then take that revision and apply it to other posts. I'll show you how right now. So we have a revisions, SEO revisions tab right here. This is inside any post at the very bottom at the AIOSEO tab, and it shows SEO specific revisions. So all the revisions we did to this post throughout this video, in the post itself, those are not SEO revisions, those are just regular post revisions, and there's a WordPress revisions section for those changes. But the SEO revisions are ones that happen directly inside the AIOSEO settings. For example, post title changes, meta description changes, focus key phrase changes maybe, things like that. So if we add some information to this title, we're going to go over the character limit for a minute just so you can see this example. Let's save that. Now we're at 5 SEO revisions. Because of that site title change, we see the date and time it happened. We had some changes we did yesterday for making these videos, but we don't know what those were because we didn't add a note. So we made this title change just now. We can add a note, change the structure of the post title because we added the separator and the site title itself. You can have that in great detail inside this note. I don't know how many characters you have available to you. It's probably not too many. Let's just see. Let's see if we can get that size. No. So all we have for the note is this much. There isn't too much space to add your notes, so you need to be concise, but you also need to describe what you did, because you might come back 2 months later. SEO changes don't take effect instantly, so you might have made this change to the post title,
In 2 months from now, you might come back and be like, wow, that was great. That post title change really helped this post. But if you don't have the note in here describing what you did, you might not know exactly what you did. So you want to make sure you're concise, but you also describe what you did so that if the changes are positive in the search traffic, you can then keep this post as it is and you can use it as a model for other posts on your site. Or if the change was no good and it tanked your SEO, you can click on compare for the previous version or the version previous to that or any version you want, and it'll show you what the revisions are. So in red is the previous one, in green is the current one. So we can go back to other previous ones. This double arrow here is the current one. And these lines, or these little blocks up here, indicate all the previous ones. We can go back to any one of these. It shows the notes associated with them if you have any. And then if you want to switch back to one, you got to move the rightmost double arrow, which is the green one. So in green is what's going to change to. And then you can restore this version. So the red one is just for comparison. The green one is what it'll change to when you click on restore this revision. So let's click on that. And now we see here SEO data restored to a revision created 23 hours ago. And it is visible right there. And then I might also add a note in here saying reverted to an old version of the title. Click outside the note and it saves it. These SEO revisions, if you use them properly and you track the changes to your traffic, these can be really powerful. And luckily, you can track the changes to your traffic right inside of your WordPress dashboard using All-in-One SEO. And I think the standout feature that All-in-One SEO provides you is Content Decay analysis, which shows you the progress of your post, both positive and negative, over time. To see that report, go into your dashboard, go to Search Statistics under the All-in-One SEO menu, click on Content Rankings, and here it shows all the content decay. Shows more than that actually, but you can see the content decay here. You have on the right hand side a performance chart, and you can see each one is a month. If I hover over it, it shows what month it is. So it goes back 1 year and it shows how that post is trending, not in search traffic, but in points. These are the points that you can see here. These points are generated using an algorithm that All-in-One SEO has built into it, and it takes into account a lot of factors, including how much traffic a page gets. And the more points you lose or the more points you gain, the more important it is for you to either change what you have there so you can gain points again if you lost them, or if you're getting lots of points, study that post and see what's happening and see why it's getting so many points and try to take advantage of that on your other posts. A good example of why the points matter is if you have two posts that drop 51%, let's say both of these drop 51%, but one of them had 500 visits a month, the other one had 50 visits a month. Even though they have the same percentage drop, you might be like, I need to focus on, pick one randomly, and you pick the one that has 5 minutes. So you'll get, if you fix it, you'll get back up to 10 visits a month. Whoop-de-doo. But if you fix the other one, you get back up to 500 visits a month. So the point system is there to help you figure out not only which posts are trending down, but which posts are losing the most traffic in their downward trend. And those posts get the most points. And let's see if I have any ones that are gaining. Probably not. I'm not really focused on SEO on this site. But we do have a 12-point gain for this one. It's a recent post that I published in conjunction with a video on YouTube. But I've got some point gains here, so that's always nice. But they're pretty minor point gains compared to the loss. My highest point gain is 12. My highest loss is 131. So this is the home page. So maybe that's not the best one to work on. I just got to put the H1 on there. But probably this one. This one used to get a lot of traffic. Maybe this would be one I want to work on and update it. It hasn't been updated since June 10th, 2020. So by updating that and refreshing it, maybe making a new video for it, I could help that post do better. And if I click into this by clicking on the title, there's lots of places you can click, like view post, edit post. You can see important meta information by hovering over the check mark. But if I click on the title, it takes us to a separate page that shows us specific scores for this page. And the headline scores a 53, which is not great. The true SEO score is 0 because I don't have a keyword in here. But the keyword for this one, I believe, was 2-column responsive contact form. And then contact form 7 was a secondary keyword. And here we have the content is below the minimum words, add more content. It has 0 inbound links, meaning no other posts on the website are linking to it. That's not great, that's something to fix. It has no outbound links, meaning it's not linking to any other posts, also not great. It has 1 external link, this is probably linking to the YouTube video. Has no affiliate links, and has 9 link suggestions. Another powerful feature that we'll take a look at in a few minutes. You can add a redirect right from here. You can see the SEO metadata right from here. The description's way over the character limit. Down at the bottom, we see SEO performance. This is a very interesting graph because on this graph, if you've made changes to the SEO, like we saw with the SEO revisions, it'll be noted on here on the day you made the change. And if Google has algorithm updates, it'll just be noted on here as well. So you can see at a glance changes you've made or changes Google has made, and you can see the effect of that on your website, which is powerful. Super powerful, having that all in one spot inside your dashboard. This data is available inside Google Search Console, but are you going to go there and check it out on a regular basis? It's just so much easier when it's inside your WordPress dashboard. This is also pulled in from Google Search Console. You can see the top losing keywords, which is keywords that are going down in points or trending down. Top winning keywords, not so many winning ones on here. If I go back to all, here's an SEO tip that I don't hear thrown around very much, but I've used it to great effect countless times. I still use it to this day. I use it on both Google and YouTube. It works on both the same way. We have a live post that has data. It's optimized for the keyword 2-column responsive contact form. That is the keyword I'm trying to show up for. And if we look through this keyword list that Google Search Console provides us, we're going to see a lot of examples in here that have 2 columns. For example, contact form 7, 2 columns, contact form 7, 2-column layout responsive, HTML email 2 columns responsive, HTML 2 columns responsive. These are getting pretty loose, as in they're not that targeted to the content that I made here. And you're going to see lots of, here's 2 more with 2 columns. You're going to see lots of examples of keywords that are almost completely unrelated to this post. For example, contact form 7 text area rows. This post is showing up for that term even though we're not optimized for it. What that tells me is maybe this is a keyword that I want to create a dedicated post for or a dedicated video for. Here's another example. Contact form 7 styling examples. Contact form 7 side-by-side fields. There's a different version of the text area rows keyword that we just saw. Contact form 7 2 fields in the same line. These are great ideas for keywords that you can then investigate a little further and possibly create content for. And if I click on them, doesn't give us much more information besides what we see there. This is a great trick for finding keywords and topics that you know get traffic because you're already getting impressions for them. And if you compare that to keyword research tools, which are kind of a best guess, like they're not 100%. If a keyword research tool shows you a keyword has good traffic, that's not necessarily true, but it might be. You kind of have to try it and see what happens. You're kind of taking a best guess. Whereas here, we're not guessing. This keyword right here in the past 28 days has been searched. We know it's 28 days. If we hover over the points over here, we see there are date range, past 28 days. We know it's getting search traffic. We know this one's getting search traffic. All of these are getting search traffic. Our post, even though it's unrelated, is ranking for it and appearing and getting impressions. Nobody's clicking on it because we're not optimized for it. It doesn't show up. This keyword doesn't show up in the title or the description or the URL slug. So why would people click on it? They know it's not about that, but we're still showing up. And my point is you can now create a new post that focuses directly on that topic or keyword and have a really good chance of ranking and getting traffic from it. It might not be a lot of traffic, but it's guaranteed traffic. When we did the setup wizard at the beginning of this video, it created an XML sitemap for us and we set up the settings for that. Had we not done that in that wizard, or if you want to edit this in the future, to create an XML sitemap is pretty straightforward. Go to All-in-One SEO inside the WordPress dashboard, go to Sitemaps. And on this page, so we have an error here, we'll check that out in just a minute. So we have the ability to add a general sitemap, an RSS sitemap, a video sitemap, a news sitemap, and an HTML sitemap. You can have all of them or just one of them or two of them. It just depends on what you want to do. The general sitemap, I recommend you have one for sure. This is an XML sitemap that Google and other search engines can easily read. To enable it, just turn this on. To see it, click on the open preview. And so this is what is submitted to Google, this URL right here, and then it can more easily find all the content on your website. You can enable sitemap indexes, which means the sitemap is organized into distinct files,
Kind of like we saw just a minute ago, because I have it turned on already. We saw a list of files inside the sitemap. This is recommended to be used if you have more than 1,000 URLs. I've got less than that, but I'm still using it. If you have 3,000 posts, for example, on your site, you'll have a separate post sitemaps for the first 1,000, and then you have a new post sitemap called post sitemap-2 or something for the next 1,000. And you have post sitemap-3 for the next 1,000. So it's broken up like that if you use this option. You can also have more links per sitemap. So if I put in here 10,000, it wouldn't break it up until you had 10,000. This isn't recommended, but you can have up to 50,000 in here. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but it's up to you. For the post types, you can include posts, pages, attachments, and products. I have WooCommerce installed. That's why I pulled in products here. Those are the major ones I would use. If you have custom post types that create content on your site, for example, if you have a directory website and you have custom post types that display directory pages for companies, you want to check that as well. Ones I wouldn't check, there's some good examples here. Modules, quizzes, certificates, submitted essays. These are things that I don't care if Google ranks, and I prefer them not to, actually. So I don't have those checked. They're not going to be in the sitemap. You can include taxonomies, tags, and categories, or not. I don't think it really hurts either way, so you can have that on or off. You can include the date on your sitemap if you want to, just by clicking Enable. You can include author sitemaps by clicking Enable. So you'd have the sitemaps that are organized like this, but you'd also have specific author sitemaps, so you can see their content specifically. The additional pages option allows you to add pages to your sitemap that aren't part of WordPress. Not many of you would have this, but if you created, for example, an HTML-based landing page that's outside of the WordPress installation, but you still want that in your sitemap, you can add that URL in here, and then it'll be added to your sitemap. You can also do this in bulk. You can upload a CSV if you have lots of pages to include in that fashion. That way you can have everything sitemapped exactly how it should be. Under advanced settings, you can exclude posts and pages. Just start typing what's in the title, and you can pick the ones you want to exclude. You can exclude terms. If there's specific terms or words you use on your site that are assigned to posts that you don't want in your sitemap, you can add that in here. You can change the priority score, which is how important the content is in the sitemap and where it ranks in the sitemap. The most important stuff is usually at the top. That's why on this sitemap, we have posts at the top, because generally that's what you want to have ranked for sure, is the posts. So you can have priority scores for the homepage, for the post types, for the taxonomies. I would keep these mostly as default. You can exclude or include images as well. I'm going to say no to exclude images because I want my images in a sitemap, because those can potentially rank in Google as well and other search engines. I'm going to click on Save Changes, and that is how we create the general sitemap. We also have the option to create an RSS sitemap. This is something, if you have a podcast, for example, you would submit an RSS feed sitemap to your podcast host, and they pull in the information about all your podcasts. The video sitemap allows you to give Google and search engines information about videos on your website. If you're publishing videos to YouTube, I don't think this is totally necessary because Google already pulls in YouTube videos, but you might want to get traffic from other search engines that don't pull in YouTube video data. And so you want to make sure you have a video sitemap so they can find the videos. It definitely doesn't hurt having a video sitemap. The news sitemap is specific to news sites where you're creating new content on a regular basis. And in fact, here it shows Google News sitemap lets you control which content to submit to Google News and only contains articles that were published in the last 48 hours. So if you publish a lot of content, or at least daily, this might be a good thing to have. If you're like me and you publish once in a while to this blog, I wouldn't worry about this. And the HTML sitemap is mostly for your users. It's a more user-friendly sitemap that shows all the content on your site. If you have a huge site, this might not be something you want to make, but if your site is smaller or you heavily use the advanced settings where you can exclude posts and terms to shrink your sitemap down, you can display it on a dedicated page, a Gutenberg block, a shortcode, a widget, or use PHP code to put it right into your theme files. And it's just a more user-friendly sitemap. I don't use this very often. I'm going to turn it off, in fact. I mostly just focus on these other ones that you can submit to Google Search Console and other search engines. All-in-One SEO automatically submits all the sitemaps that you create directly to Google Search Console. But if for some reason it doesn't work or you want to do it manually, you can do that too. All you have to do is open the sitemap and you copy this URL right here, and then you open up Google Search Console. I usually Google it, and then you click on Start Now and you get to their homepage. Make sure you're logged into the correct account, and then find your property, in my case WPLearningLab. Go to sitemaps on the left-hand side. We have the All-in-One SEO sitemaps listed here. They're submitted just yesterday. But if that didn't work for whatever reason, or you wanted to do it manually, you just copy the sitemap URL that you have. You come to this page inside of Google Search Console. This would be blanked out at the bottom. You wouldn't have any sitemaps in here. Then you paste your sitemap URL right there. Click on Submit. And I might get an error because it's been submitted already. Nope, didn't. Now that sitemap has been submitted. It's this one right here. In fact, it noticed we've done that run already. It was last read November 1st and submitted again November 2nd. You can resubmit your sitemaps as often as you want. I wouldn't do it more than once a day. And All-in-One SEO does it when you make changes to your website. So if you create posts, it'll update the sitemap and notify Google at the same time. So it handles that for you. But either way, if you add the sitemap here, Google is going to crawl the sitemap and then crawl the pages in the sitemap and try to figure out whether it wants to rank your content. If you're trying to connect Google Analytics to All-in-One SEO, the process has changed. If we go to General Settings under the All-in-One SEO plugin, and we go to Webmaster Tools, we have Google Analytics here that used to be added directly to All-in-One SEO. If we click on it, it now says Google Analytics is now handled by Monster Insights. Click on Manage Google Analytics. If you have Monster Insights installed on your site, it'll take you to this Monster Insights page. If not, it'll ask you to install the plugin. I've just got the free version, so it'll give you some data, but not all your data. Click on Connect Monster Insights to get started. Click on Continue and Connect to Google. Choose the appropriate email address that contains your Google Analytics account for this website. Click on Continue, click on Allow. Pick the correct account, WPLearningLab. It's got to be GA4 nowadays, so hopefully you've migrated to that. If you didn't do it yourself, Google did it automatically. You just might have to update the analytics code on your website. And if you do this process, it'll be the correct code in the correct place. So now we're connected with Monster Insights. We make it effortless to implement Google Analytics tracking to see stats that matter right inside of your WordPress dashboard. Super duper. And I'm using the free version as well. Once you've done that, you're probably going to want to launch the setup wizard. Which category best describes your website? I'm going to say publisher or blog. License key for the pro version. Nope, I think I'm just going to keep the connection as it is. We have recommended settings here. First one is events tracking. Must have for all click tracking on your website. It's enabled by default. Enhanced link attribution. Improves the accuracy of your in-page analytics. That's turned on by default. File download tracking. It'll track downloads if you have lead magnets and things. You would probably have a lead magnet landing page, and you want to have event tracking so that you can see when someone fills out the form and lands on the thank you page. That's tracked as an event, specifically a conversion event, to show that they've entered the email and gone to the thank you page. The enhanced link attribution is going to help you figure out where they came from to get to that landing page. The file download tracking is going to confirm that they downloaded the file. So all these things are very important for any kind of online marketing activity. We also have affiliate link tracking, helps you increase affiliate revenue. And I have all of these actually on the site, /go, recommend, and recommends for different affiliate links. I create mine manually, usually using the htaccess file. But any clicks that go to these URLs are now going to be tracked as affiliates. It doesn't change how they function, it just changes how they appear inside Google Analytics so you can better figure out what's going on with your traffic. Who can see these reports? Administrator, editor, and any other user role that you want. You can install updates automatically. I usually don't do that. I'm going to turn that off. I like to go in and update them manually because I back up my site first. It's a smart thing to do, I think. You can show the Monster Sites Insights badge, and by toggling this one on, you're helping Monster Insights improve their plugin. Click on Save and Continue when you're done. Which website features would you like to enable? Standard analytics and reports, enhanced link attribution, add recommended plugins to my website, privacy and compliance add-on, advanced reports, e-commerce tracking, 20 plus advanced tracking. That's a lot of plugins to add. Media tracking, track how users interact with videos. I'm going to turn that one on, that one on, and that one on, and that one on, and that one on. Fine, I'll do them all. Click on continue. It's going to install all those. Not that I like to have so many plugins, but these are important things, especially when you're trying to improve your conversions and things like that. And we're on the last page now. It looks like we're ready to go. Upgrade. Nope, not right now. Thanks. Complete setup without upgrading. Click on that link. And now we can click on View Reports, refreshing report, loading new report data. This shouldn't take that long. It's just pulling data in from Google Analytics. And there we have some report data. And what's nice is it's right in your WordPress dashboard, which is great. It's also not great because it puts more load on your website, loading these reports all the time when you're back here doing this. But it's just convenient to have it in here. And they also track your data and crunch your data in ways that are maybe a little more user-friendly than Google Analytics, because Google Analytics has all the same data and has a huge number of reports, but it can be hard to find your way around. But if you do learn using Google Analytics directly, you wouldn't need to add all these plugins. So there's a trade-off either way, but it is pretty convenient having this right inside your website. Something you might have noticed in various places in this video or throughout this series is we're getting some robots.txt errors. So if we go to Tools under All-in-One SEO, we see right here a big red box, and the error is where do you have a robots file, and this is asking if we can remove that file because it conflicts with WordPress's dynamically generated one, and if so, All-in-One SEO can import this file and delete it, or you can simply delete it. If you import the file, it brings in all the rules that you currently have in that file. So I click on open robots.txt, I can see all the rules I currently have, which is not that many. And then if I scroll down, those might already be in here. There's the black hole disallow, and we have disallow WP admin. That one's right there. And we have allow WP admin Ajax, which is right here. So it's already pulled it in this example down here. And then this will be what the new robots.txt file looks like. So I'm going to say import and delete. And now we just have, well, we've got a duplicate here. So let's delete the duplicate row. Click on Save Changes again to update. And now we just have the robots.txt file that All-in-One SEO creates. And any changes we make in All-in-One SEO that require changes to our robots file are going to be done dynamically. We don't have to worry about it. Whereas if we're doing it manually, like I've been doing on this site for years, you need to worry about it. You need to change the rules in the robots.txt file when it becomes important. So it's super convenient having that built into All-in-One SEO. An important consideration when doing SEO on your site is canonicalizing URLs. What does that mean? If we go to this post we've been working on throughout this video series, we have a URL for it, of course, like every post does, and that one is right here. And the full URL is shown right here. And sometimes we can have different URLs for the same post. Specifically, that happens if you have under the settings for WordPress and then under permalinks, if you have this set to include the category, which you can easily do, and a lot of sites have this, so you can have the category appear right here. So it'd be your domain name, the category name, then the post name. And if this post happens to be in two categories, it would have a URL inside each of those categories. And then search engines don't know which one is the proper one, which one is the post you actually want to rank. It's actually the same post, so you want them both to rank, but the search engines have to pick a URL. They're not going to show two URLs in the search results, and they get confused, and you're making the search engine's job harder. It's better to make it easier. And that's where choosing a canonical URL comes in. So under the Advanced tab on any post, we have the canonical URL option here. So we can just click on that again and copy this and then paste that in here, delete that arrow. Whatever we put in here is the canonical URL, which is just a fancy word for saying this is the main one that I want you to index. And if we click on save and then view this post, and then we look at the source code and we search for canonical, and here's the canonical URL. WordPress has these by default as well, but sometimes it can get a little confusing, as I mentioned, with different categories and having the same page in different categories. So having a way to define it specifically is super helpful, and that's how you do it. When you have All-in-One SEO installed, one of the great features it adds is the link assistant. This allows you to do a lot of things on your site that are very important for SEO. One of those things is finding orphan posts, which are posts that exist that don't have any links from inside your site going to them. All-in-One SEO also recommends links for your posts to other posts on your site. And it shows you all this data that you see here. So we're going to focus on those two very important ones I just mentioned, finding orphan posts and then creating links to those posts. So orphan posts, if we click on that, we see them all here. And when you see that there's 961 orphan posts, you might panic a little bit, but that's not necessarily posts that you want to rank anyway. If we check the filters, if we choose posts, that'll show all the posts created as posts inside WordPress, which are blog posts. But we also have a lot of other posts in here. Depending how your site is set up, you might have lots of them. You have products, courses, modules, lessons, quizzes, challenge exams. A lot of these are from LearnDash that I have on my site to sell the courses that I sell. So a lot of these orphan posts don't really need internal links anyway. So it's kind of misleading in that case because I want to focus just on posts. So I'm going to choose post, any category, because they're all on the blog. Click on filter, and now we're going to have a lot less, I would say. See if we have an indication how many. It still shows 961, but there definitely aren't that many posts on my site that don't have links to them. So let's just pick one of these, how to clean up the thumb hack. Click on this arrow right here, and it shows more detailed stats, or at least explains the stats. It shows here as just icons. There's no inbound internal links, meaning there's no links from other pages on our site to this page, which is the definition of an orphaned page. There's 0 outbound internal links, meaning this page has no links to other pages. There's no affiliate links. There's 2 external links. Here it shows where they go to, which are resources to help anyone trying to clean up this specific type of hack. And there's 5 link suggestions. This is the link assistant in action right here. Click on link suggestions. Click on outbound internal link suggestions. That's not what we're looking for. We really wanted the inbound suggestions. But the outbound ones allow you to add links to this post that then link to other posts on your site. And having this interlinking is very important. And for SEO, you really want to stay within the same category for the links you create. So this is a security post because it's about how to clean up a hack. So you'd want to link to other pages that are security focused, and you want other pages that are security focused to link to this one. Let's just pretend that one of these works that way. You can read through the link option here. This is the sentence that's on the website, or sorry, on that post. And this one says, but in reality, we can't be sure if the plugins we install are safe from hacking or if the person who wrote the plugin has good intentions. That's great. And then this is the recommended link, which would go to this page. Enforce use of FTP before being able to install or update plugins and themes. And this is directly related to installing plugins. So maybe this is a link we want to add. If you do want to add it, click on Add Link. Yes, I want to add this suggestion. And that adds it right there. Link added. Boom, done. Super cool, super easy. So that's an outbound link from this post. What we really wanted was an inbound link. And there's no way to manually add inbound links as far as I can tell through here. So we're going to have to find some other posts that have some recommended inbounds. Here, this one. 6 htaccess hacks to improve WordPress security and SEO. We have 2 inbound internal link suggestions. Why you're crazy to still be running WordPress 2.9. Clearly that's an old post. iTheme security WordPress plugin how-to. So let's add that one. This is the text of the page on this post right here. This is the anchor text for the link. And if you click on this pencil, you can even change the words. So if you want to change the wording of the sentence or change the anchor text for the link, you can do that right here. Click on Save Changes when you like it. Click on Add Link. Yes, I want to add this suggestion. And bada bing, bada boom. This page now has 1 inbound internal. If I refresh this, it'll go up to 1. It'll no longer appear on this list because we're looking specifically at orphaned pages. And ideally on your site, you'd have 0 orphaned pages that are posts. You can have orphaned pages that don't have links to them because maybe they're not that important and you don't want them to be ranking. For example, the ones we saw in here, the lessons and the modules and the quizzes, I don't necessarily want those to rank, so I'm not linking to them. And if you want to clean that up and make this easier, just go to the settings, go to post types, uncheck include all post types, and include just posts and maybe products. If those 2 could rank in search engines, that'd be great. The other ones, I don't really care about for this website. Save changes, and now if we go back to overview, this is going to update. Much larger number here, sorry, much smaller number, but there's still a lot of posts that need links going to them. And we can work through them all, just like I showed you just a second ago, and we can clean up these orphan posts, and we can add internal links to other posts. Go to the links report, and that shows you all the link suggestions on the right-hand side. So you can go through every post that you have. Maybe show the unselected drafts, which you can do in the settings too. Down here, you can have just the published ones show up. And probably drafts is a good idea too, because you do want to add the links before you publish the post. And so now we have just published posts. If you wanted, or if you took over the SEO for a website, this would be where you'd start. And you add link suggestions just the way we did earlier. And it's super simple, super easy, and it can have a big positive effect on SEO as well if you're doing your internal linking properly.
And once you put all this work into your SEO on your website, you want to know how your rankings are affected. To do that, let's go back to this post right here and let's grab this keyword, Contact Form 7 PayPal integration. We've seen this post throughout this video series. Let's go back to our WordPress dashboard. Under the All-in-One SEO menu item, go down to Search Statistics, then click on Keyword Rank Tracker, then click on Add Keywords. You can add groups of keywords as well, which I'm going to do actually. When I click on Add Keyword, I'm going to add this to a group. I'm going to call the group Contact Form 7. And you can add keywords that you already have in your rank tracker right here, but I don't have any. This is the first one. And this way we can see the group performance overall for all the keywords inside the Contact Form 7 group and the individual performance. You can also import these keywords from focus keywords. That's probably an even easier method, but I only have one focus keyword on the site right now because I haven't gone back and added them to all the posts. You can also add them via CSV. Click on Add Keywords when you're done. And then it pulls in data from Google Search Console again, which is showing an average position of 24 for this keyword. And it got 4 impressions and 0 clicks. And clearly it can use a lot of work. And hopefully the changes we made throughout this video series will help us rank this keyword higher. Over here we can see a trend. So we start at position 29 on October 24th. And then we're at position 19 on average October 31st. But either way, by doing this and having all your keywords in here, you can see how you're improving in your rankings because you're putting all this work in for your SEO. You want to see at least something, improvement or not improvement. If there's not improvement, you go and tweak it some more and you put in more work and you find other ways to tweak your content to better your SEO, or you find new keywords to focus on. And if you're improving, you keep doing more of what's working. And that's why it's important to track keywords, and that's why it's also super convenient to have it built right into All-in-One SEO.
If you got value from this video, let me know by clicking like and subscribe, and then check out this playlist right here, which is the All-in-One SEO playlist on my channel, all about All-in-One SEO and using it to improve your rankings and your traffic. So make sure you check out that playlist. My name is Bjorn from WP Learning Lab. Till next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.